what is one piece of advice that you wish you had before starting at your senior college?
I think one piece of advice that I wish I had before transferring to Brooklyn College was the idea of taking studying a lot more seriously, or a lot more serious. I remember my professors, they did give quizzes here and there. They did have like pop questions that they would ask to see if we did reading and different things like that. But for me, I didn't really, I felt like I was like just, gliding past. I could do a little bit of I could do a little bit of skimming and I would be okay. But when I got to my 4-year school, I couldn't just skim and be fine with it, or I couldn't just, kind of breeze by a little bit. So I think one piece of advice, and my professors definitely said here at Guttman, like, you definitely have to study, you definitely have to read this and make sure you do your reading. But I didn't really like follow through with that at Guttman, but I still was able to do very well in my courses. So that would be one piece of advice, or one thing that I feel like I should have taken a little bit more serious at Guttman, because at Brooklyn College, the test scores and the test grades, they were like 35% of your grade, sometimes even 40% of your grade, whereas at Guttman, it didn't weigh so much, but it still mattered. So I wish I would have taken that a little bit more serious, and think about the percentages of what test scores are and what certain parts of your grade is, so that, you do well.
I think a piece of advice that I wish I had before was not to get too intimidated by like the other students, because I was in lecture halls with like 600 students, so it was just like a lot of students, and I had like flicker questions, and they count as participation and your attendance, and like I would ask around, like we were doing a question and I was just trying to get like a guarantee before I made that click, and I would just ask the person next to me, I'm like, hey, I put B, what did you, like, are you putting B? And then since I was doing nursing, some people wouldn't want to share because it is a competition to get in the nursing program. So I guess like in larger settings too, don't get so like intimidated that, if you don't make friends quickly, or if you don't find like your study group or something like that. So yeah, so that's what like advice I wish I had, because I had Guttman students in my classes, but some of them I didn't. So I was just like, I need to speak up and, meet new people and things like that. So yeah, don't get so intimidated by the other students.
One thing I would say is time management and getting to class on time. The professors in the senior colleges really take that to account. One of my professors this past semester, she said that if you like 1 minute or 2 minutes late to class, she would count that as an absence, and if you get 3 absences, you fail the class automatically. So I would say attendance is very important at Guttman. I know you guys used to have the 15-minute grace period that's being late, but lateness is very important. Don't get late to class, and just get class on time.
For me, I would say that you really have to reach out for help. Like at Guttman, it's more accessible to just go to the professor's desk and get help. But when at Hunter, I wish I would have known, like my first semester, you really have to reach out. Like you have to make it known that you need help.
I want to second what you said. Time management is very important, especially when you're away and you have like a lot of distractions on campus and stuff. You just gotta know to balance your work and know that you can't attend all events because you have work to do.
So back to what he was saying about lateness, you're gonna have professors that say they don't count attendance and they don't like care if you come or not. But if you don't come one day and they say something, that could be on your exam. So even though they say like they don't count attendance, because you might have a lecture hall of 500, and how really they're gonna count attendance there, unless you have like clicker questions. But sometimes if you don't show up, they say things, and that's gonna be on your exam, and it's on your fault because it's from that day. So even though they say like they don't count, like if you gotta miss because you're sick or you have something going on, then use that as valuable like reasons to miss, but don't just miss because they're not counting it, and you could get the PowerPoint from online. So yeah.
No, but just to like sum up everything that they were saying, create your own little groups, but also know that this is a competition. You shouldn't be intimidated by them, but this is not, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So don't expect somebody to just always be willing to give you their notes because you want to be absent 7 times a week. You know, just simple things like that. But it's gonna like, you have to create your own little group, because I remember with the sociology thing, I had to like find somebody who was doing exceptionally well and like talk to them, like talk through it with them, and then that's how we would study. So like, yeah, they're intimidating, and don't be intimidated by them, but you know, you'll figure it out. It's not so bad.